Hi guys, welcome back to MK Sportscars. The cold is coming out there, it's a bit chilly, but we're cracking on with work and heating it up here in the workshop. First up, what we got here, we've got the RX-5 we've been working on, IVA prep time. I think you saw last week we've done all the emissions, got the catalytic exhaust on there. There's a couple of little things that needed doing. Indicators were flashing too fast. If you're running LED lights instead of the standard bulb type, then the indicators can flash too fast. That's a simple thing, it's just a change of the relay, which Peter's under there, getting into the electrics, changing that over. You can do a variable speed one, you can adjust the flash rate per minute. And there is a flash rate per minute, but generally the relays plug in and they do what they need to do. So that's one job that it was done. Under here we've had to have the centre tunnel off here. There's a couple little jobs just when you're building your cars, just to keep an eye on. Some of the electrical cables, it's hard to see in here, they were actually touching the prop shaft, some of the casings. So we had to get that off and move that across to make sure the gap was clearance. And also any wiring under here or under here needs to be tucked away in conduit and make sure there's no sharp edges. So we just had to do some modification on that. And another little job was the earth lead we noticed was actually held in, this earth lead here. Was held in with just a self-tapping screw onto the alley panel. So things like that, earth leads need to be bolted on. It's a really good earth to the chassis, otherwise you end up with other complications. So make sure those little jobs when you're tidying it up, sometimes it's not common sense, sometimes you think you're doing the right thing, but it's just for advice for you. Make sure you've got a good earth and don't do things like self-tapping. So little jobs on this that we're cracking on with. This is nearly coming back together now. Fan wasn't working, so we're just doing the fan. Something you must make sure, if you're going to IVA, make sure your fan's working, because you're going to be running it up to temperatures 85, 90 degrees. You need to make sure the fan's kicking in. So when you're at home, run it up to idle, make sure the fan kicks in, it's all bringing temperatures back down. So, but near enough done, getting that back on the ramp. Had to do some handbrake adjustment. On the handbrake on the MK5, you can adjust it in a couple of different ways. You've got an adjuster here for the cable. These brakes are binding on this. There's a little adjuster, perhaps Lewis gets around this side here. Just there. You can get sometimes a screwdriver, but there's a little flat in it there and you can adjust the cable tension to stop it binding. Or on the rear caliper, where the calipers are off, just in here on the rear caliper, there is a grub screw on the other side here that you undo, and there's like a little Allen key bolt you can adjust the calipers on as well. It's just something else, a little top tip for you guys. But yeah, this is getting better up, should be off to IVA very shortly. Right, next up we're outside in the cold. You're thinking, well, why are you outside in the cold? Well, we're doing cold start mapping. Now there'll be a separate video on this on the Sprint 185. We've been at RLM and had the tuning done on this, made really good numbers. We'll throw out a separate video for that on what it was on the dyno, what numbers it made and everything else. But if you're interested in this particular model, it's all road legal on a 74 plate, because it's all brand new, everything's brand new on this particular one. And what we're doing here is it's great when you do the dyno runs, but it's hard to get the cold mapping done. So although it was there, Joseph's now just doing some fine tweaking on that to help it with a cold start mapping, because it's perfect temperature right now, isn't it? Look, it's great, it's freezing out here, so you can do that, leave it for an hour or so, let it cool down, go back in again, checking it all, see if it starts now. Well, save the settings, let's see if she fires, Joseph. Look at that, on the button. But yeah, it's just those little intricacies, those little differences to make it nice and run smooth. Refine it. It's easy to do the hot maps because it's on the dyno, we can do that there and then, but these little jobs, otherwise you'll have it at the dyno for like days and days and days and days and days. So we're just tweaking that little one there. So lovely little car, can't wait to do a little review on that. You have to keep an eye out for that one, or come down here and go out, have some fun. Let's go back inside where it's much warmer. Right, next up is the left-hand drive booth of the car. What are we doing with that? Well, it doesn't look very interesting because it's wiring. Lots of wiring. Plugs. Wiring in the freewheel here. Once the wiring's done, you have to program it. This is the fuse box down here. All the relays done. All the wiring into a battery kill switch. But it's running, not done this before, but I think we said to you last week, we've laser cut and cut in the Gen 3 booster clocks here for the dashboard, and all the switch gear is now gone in on there. They'll be labelled up accordingly. So yeah, Adrian's been on with that. He's not far away now, to be honest. It's a few bits of the looms, front headlights to finish off, and the rear lights, then we can start testing it all, which is what he's doing here, just doing a power probe test on things to make sure all the circuits line up. So yeah, the wiring's done, pretty much all the major components all done in there, and then we've got some few bits down here to finish off coming into the front loom, which is that one there. That'll get finished off as well. So yeah, that's the problem with these cars. It looked like it not much happens for a few days or whatever because you're doing wiring, and nothing really changed. No big components go on it because it's been geo, it's been down, and then we can just start checking things, reverse motors, making sure they're functioning. Gauge, we won't see the gauges because that's going on a separate loom actually. That one, that'll go off the engine ECU that the customer's sorting out their end. So yeah, nice colour though, isn't it, in the blue? Looks really smart. Lewis says yes. Right, so next up is a couple of kit collections going on. We've got one here and one there being collected. I think one's going up north to Ripon Way and one's going to the Isle of Wight, I do believe. And this is what it comes like in a kit form. This one's had the brake lines, fuel lines, floor pans, all fitted, but the RX-5 that we see there we're speaking about, and this is the chassis ready, and all the other components are in boxes here ready to be collected. We've got another one here, both of them being ready, you know, fuel tanks just laid in, all of the bits here are components just ready to load into your van. And then when you do come, if you're coming with a van, I would have top tip, bring a couple of blankets and a bit of protection if you're driving a long way for your body. Although it's wrapped up, you don't want it rattling around, so bring some blankets, maybe a couple of straps to tie the chassis down as well, or a bit of cardboard or something like that, just a bit of protection on its transit ways. Quite a few guys turn up and it's a bare empty van, it's always a bit tricky then, so we want to make sure you protect your nice precious new purchase, ready to start building it. Yeah, so there's two kits ready to go out. Christmas builds coming along. Christmas Day, I know what they're going to be doing. Not unprepared presents, they're going to be building cars. Brilliant. What's next? Right, next up we've got the S2000 car. We're on with fitting all the bodywork and lining all that up. That's all done now. We're just going to be fitting the bonnet catches today. That'll be done. All the alignments done, all the fixing of the front nose cone. This is on the classic bodywork, not the new stuff with the cutaway here. So it's got the full infill panels here. They'll still sell it, people do buy it, but what you have to do is a modification under here. You have to chop it, you can see this moves. You have to chop it to fold it in and crease it in behind the nose cone here, so that otherwise that would stick out. If the body line finish it would stick out, which would be an IVA-FL because it'd be sharp edge. Also, it doesn't look good, which is why we developed the new Essex bodywork. It got rid of all that out of the equation and it made it nice and neat and finished and bolted up to the nose cone. So sometimes people like the infill sections, it's why they go with the classic stuff. It's your choice, I suppose, at the end of the day. This has got the classic nose cone on it as well. It's got the bulge on the side and the indicators go in here. That's the next job to do as well once that's finished up. Yeah, and a few little jobs. The rear arches are ready because we've just bled the brakes. I think we said last week they've done, just ready to bolt back on now. Yeah, and then we're just going to be starting on with the electrics. The freewheel's gone on here. You've got the 4-button freewheel, and then we're on with the instruments next on the dash layout. So the dash layout's next, which is why we pulled out the instruments. We were doing that. It's got the nice MK Sportscars branded instruments. Great, you know, they look really smart once they're in the dash, but it's having a carbon dash. This is an earlier car, so we still had a couple of carbon dashes kicking about, I do believe, for this one, and it's got carbon interior, carbon dash. So yeah, looking really good. Then we should be not far away. Final bit of wiring should be here, running in the next week or so. Get that up and running. Another one mainly for IVA. Right, before we sign off today, just one little thing here. The Striker chassis, these are getting palletised, ready to go out to Ireland. Got 4 Striker chassis here, all made up, all case, stacked them this way because they're just going to get palletised and sent out. So if you're interested in those, we can get the Striker chassis remade and done there. And we're going to be doing some other stuff with that and the Phoenix, which is still sitting over there looking as pretty and sexy as she ever does. Yeah, so we're on with those. They get out. These are having a live axle, as well as nothing in the back here, not the independent. These are having a live axle and they're doing a conversion out there in Ireland for it. So nice little chassis. We did like the Striker. It's a great little car. So yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and we will catch you next week.